Jerusalem Talmud Yomi, Tractate Bikurim, Chapter 3, Mishnah 3. Those who live close by bring figs and grapes, but those from far away bring dried figs and raisins. The bull walks before them, his horns covered with gold, and he wears an olive crown on his head. The fife beats before them until they are arriving close to Jerusalem. When they arrived close to Jerusalem, they sent ahead of them, and they adorned their first fruits. Civil and temple administrators and the treasurers came out to meet them. They were leaving according to the standing of the corner of the comers. All artisans in Jerusalem were getting up for them to greet them. Our brothers, people from place X, be welcome, meaning any place, whatever, be welcome. Halacha, how far? That he could give truma from the best. If he wanted to bring a fig cake, we shall say that if it was from Ke'ilah, he may bring it. From Bosra, he cannot bring it. Is it obvious that it will be sacrificed as a well-being offering? Rabbi Ami said, it will be sacrificed as a well-being offering. Rav said, one uses it to occupy the altar. Rabbi Zera asked, does a private person who was lazy and did not come with the group bring a goat with its horns covered in silver and an olive crown on his head, since this is one of the 7 kinds? It was stated he whose first fruits were dried figs adorned them with fresh figs. Raisins one adorned them with fresh grapes. Is there a small and great in Jerusalem? Is there small and great in Jerusalem? But so is the Mishnah, by multitudes. According to the number of comers, they were leaving. Did we not state in Leviticus 19:32, you shall rise and give respect? Just as rising does not cost anything, so giving respect should not cost anything. There is a difference here, since it is only once in a long time. Rabbi Yossi ben Rabbi Abun, in the name of Rabbi Huna bar Chia, come and see how strong is the case of those who come to fulfill a commandment. For before an elder one does not have to stand, but before those who come to fulfill a commandment one stands. Rabbi Yossi ben Rabbi Abun said, those that stand up before a dead person do not stand up before the dead, but before those who serve him in charity, whatever that means. How often does a person have to rise before an elder? Shimon bar Abba, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, twice a day. Rabbi Elazar said, once a day. Was it not stated thus? Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, from where that an elder should not importune. The verse says, Leviticus 19:32, elder, but you should fear your God. I'm the Eternal. According to Rabbi Yochanan, this is understandable. According to Rabbi Elazar, one should not give at all. Rabbi Jacob bar Acha, in the name of Rabbi Elazar, that he should not see a group of old men and pass in front of them, so they should rise before him. Just as they disagree here, so they disagree about greeting. Rabbi Hezekiah, Rabbi Chanina, the son of Rabbi Bahu, in the name of Rabbi Udemon Avduma, Udemon from Haifa. For an elder 4 cubits, once he passed, one sits down. The high priest, from the moment one sees him until he disappears from view. What is the reason? Exodus 33:8. It was when Moses went to the tent The entire people rose, etc. Two Amorim, one as praise and one as shame. The one who says as praise to see the just person and acquire merit. The one who says as shame, look at his thighs, look at his feet. He eats from the Jews, he drinks from the Jews. All he has is from the Jews. The ark is facing the people, the Kohanim are facing the people, and the people face the holy. Rabbi Elazar said the Torah does not get up because of her son. Samuel said, the Torah does not get up because of her son. Samuel said one does not get up because of a fellow. Rabbi Hila and Rabbi Jacob bar Edi were sitting. Samuel bar Abba passed by them and they stood up. He said to them, 2 things are wrong with you. The first, that I am not an elder. The other, that the Torah does not get up because of her son. Rabbi Zera said that Rabbi Acha interrupted his studies and got up, since he considered the following statement. The writers of Torah, scrolls, tefillin, and mezuzot do interrupt for the reading of Shema, but they do not interrupt for prayer. Rabbi Hanina ben Akiva says, Rabbi Hanania ben Akavia says, just as they interrupt for the reading of the Shema, so they do interrupt for prayer, tefillin, and all other commandments of the Torah. The great Chizkiah, when he had studied Torah as much as he could, used to go and sit before the assembly hall in order to see old men and get up before them. Yehuda bar Chia used to go and greet his father-in-law, Rabbi Yanai, every Sabbath Eve. He used to sit on a hilly place in order to see him and get up before him. His students said to him, did the teacher not instruct us? For an elder, 4 cubits? He said to them, one does not sit before Sinai. Once he did not come. He said, it is impossible that my son Yehuda should change his habits. It is impossible that sufferings should come over his holy body. It is reasonable that we lost the great Yehuda. Rabbi Meir, when he saw even a vulgar old man, rose before him. He said, not for nothing did he live so long. Rabbi Hanina slapped a person who did not rise before him and said, do you want to do away with the Torah? Rabbi Shimon said, the Holy One prays to him, said, Leviticus 19:32, before a white head you shall rise, give respect to an elder, and fear your God. I am eternal. I am the one who first observed standing before an elder. When the patriarch enters, everybody stands, and they may not sit down until he tells them, sit. For the chief judge, one forms rows. He may choose through which one to enter. For the chacham, one person after another stands up, and then sits down until he arrives at his place. Rabbi Meir was used to it, that when he went to the assembly hall, the people saw him and stood up before him. When they heard Atana reciting this statement, they wanted to follow its rules. He got angry and left. He said to them, I heard that one promotes in dignity, but does not demote. They wanted to ordain Rabbi Zera, but he did not want to take it upon himself. When he heard Atana stating, for an ordained person, a bridegroom, a patriarch, the dignity deletes his sins, he accepted being ordained. An ordained person, Leviticus 19:32, before a white head, you shall rise. Give respect to an elder, and fear your God. I am the eternal. What is written after that, in verse 33, if a proselyte lives at your land, you shall not trick him. Just as all his sins were forgiven to the proselyte, so all sins are forgiven to one being ordained. The bridegroom, Genesis 28:9. Esau went to Ismael and married Machalat bat Ismael. But her name Was her name Machalat? Was it not Basmat? But all her sins were forgiven him. All his sins were forgiven him. The precedent in 1 Samuel 13:1, Saul was 1 year old when he became king. Was he 1 year old when he became king? But all his sins were forgiven him as to a baby of 1 year. Rabbi Mana made light of those ordained for money. Rabbi Ami read for them is Exodus 20:19. Do not make for yourselves gods of silver and gods of gold. Rabbi Yehoshua said their prayer shawl is like a donkey saddle cover. Rabbi Ashian said if somebody is ordained for money, one does not get up before him and one does not address him as rabbi. His prayer shawl is like a donkey's saddle cover. Rabbi Zera and one of the rabbis were sitting together when a person ordained for money was passing by. One of the rabbis says to Rabbi Zera, let us behave like Tanaim and not get up before him. Jacob from Kfar Naburia translated Habakkuk 2:19 and 20. Woe to him who says to wood, wake up, arise, to the silent stone, should he instruct? He who knows should instruct. Behold, he is grabbed by gold and silver. Is he not ordained by the money chest? No spirit is in him. He does not know anything. Woe to him who says, I want to be ordained, but the eternal is in his holy hall. For example, Rabbi Isaac ben Elazar in the fortified synagogue of Caesarea. Rabbi Ami asked Rabbi Shimon, did you hear that one ordains elders outside the land? He answered, I heard that one does not ordain elders outside the land. Rabbi Levi said, is that not an explicit verse in Ezekiel 36:17? Son of man, the house of Israel are dwelling on their land, that all your academies shall only be on your land. The rabbis of Caesarea say, one may ordain elders outside the land on condition they return. Rabbi Isaac Bar Nachman was in Gaza, and they ordained him on condition he returned. Rabbi Zamina was in Tyre, and they ordained him on condition he returned. Rabbi Jonah was on the list, but he refused to be ordained as long as his teacher was not ordained. They ordained his teacher, Rabbi Chama said Judah ben Titus, was in Rome, and they ordained him on condition that he return. Shimon bar Abba was in Damascus, and smaller people than he were ordained, but he was not ordained. Shimon bar Abba was an expert in everything concerning pearls, but he did not have a loaf to eat. Rabbi Yochanan quoted about him, Ecclesiastes 9:11, also bread is not for sages. He said, anybody who does not know the good works of Abraham may know them through the good works of this man's ancestors. Shimon bar Abba was in Damascus when Rabbi Bahu sent him a letter and enclosed some of his gray hair. For these gray hairs' sake, get up and go to the land of Israel. Who would remove the earth from your eyes? Rabbi Yochanan Abahu, the shoe-clad, was ordained. Shimon, the toga-clad, was not ordained.